chart watchers and Decision Point faithful. Welcome to this Monday, January 25th, 2021 Decision Point show. I am here with my father, Carl Swenlin, and it's our job really to prepare you for the week ahead. We want to show you the charts that are really interesting us right now and give you a handle on what to expect coming up the rest of the week. All right. Hi, Dad. How's it going? A little cold today.
Yep. Yeah, doing fine though.
Yes. Yeah, the snow is thick. I don't know if you've been able to see it from up there, but it's just a thick layer of snow. We usually don't see that much, but we have it on the mountains. So I know there's going to be skiing for those who do ski. But let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with a market overview. Carl's going to be taking care of that along with the big four, as we like to call it: dollar, gold, oil, and bonds. I'm going to talk a little bit, we'll both talk a little bit about crypto and Bitcoin. We are also going to look at Homebuilders. If I have enough time, I'll look at some of the renewable energy stocks, if you're wondering what they're doing right now. We've been talking about them a lot with DecisionPoint Diamonds, so I thought it would be good to do a little bit of a review and see how they're doing. And then I will finish with the diamond of the week. It happens to be a stock that I put in the DecisionPoint diamonds. It was a diamond in the rough on Thursday, and it's definitely starting to shine up nicely. And I think there's some more upside to go. All right, let's look at our scoreboards, and then I'll pass it over to Carl. But we had 3 signals come in last week, PMO buy signals on the S&P 500 and SPY, of course, the S&P 100 and the NASDAQ 100. We still haven't seen the PMO buy signal coming in on the Dow Industrials yet. And if we have a moment or some time, I will show you that chart. But we're getting close. It's just not quite happening there yet for the Dow. And currently, I haven't double checked it, but currently we have buy signals on all of the sectors right now in the intermediate term and in the long term. And what does that mean? That means that over here, the 50-day EMA is above the 200-day EMA, or it's on a silver cross, as we call it. And long-term means that this means the 20-day is above the 50-day EMA for the intermediate term trend model, a silver cross. The 50 and 200-day positive crossovers are what gives us a long-term trend model buy signal, as you can see on all of these. And that means that it is on a golden cross, as we like to call them. So right now, the sectors are looking pretty good. The market overall seems to be plugging along pretty well at this point. I'm going to hand it over to you, Dad, to take a peek at some of the market charts and what your thoughts are.
Okie doke. All right. Incidentally, on sectors, XLP, which is consumer discretionary, I think.
XLP, Staples?
Staples, okay. And it's getting ready to, very close to doing a crossover downside at 2050. So,
yeah, the defensive sectors aren't looking so good right now.
Right, not so defensive. Okay, today they had some pretty good selling going on, and you can see that reflected in the total volume bar here. It was a little above the 1-year daily average volume, but it's like the selling cannot get started for some reason. I noticed today we've got sort of a short-term cycle in here. We've got from both low to low to low to bouncing along here. And this is another one, so maybe we're going to start and break out here. I don't think that the conditions are ideal for that, but never can tell.
Yeah, I talked about it in the trading room, how prices seems to be holding above the 20-day EMA, and that if it loses that, then that would certainly put a little bit of tarnish on this rising trend. But
I've noticed that here the VIX drop down through the lower band. In our display, we do a log scale inverted on the VIX, so we can get some visibility on what's going on in the lower end of the scale. New highs today shrank one more time. We did get an intraday new high. We didn't actually close on it. Well, yes, we did. I think we closed it at a new all-time high when you look at the
Mm-hmm.
supply here. So, and yet new highs are shrinking.
Yeah.
And this is one that I'm looking at. I'm going to release an article after the update today, but we've got negative divergence on the stocks above the 20 EMA, and yet the market has closed at an all-time high today. No confirmation here on that, and this is basically confirming the new highs. And this being a finite scale, we don't want to. We're not going to see it making progressive new highs like the not finite scale of the price index. No climax today. A little bit high on the volume, as I said, and then we've got this touching here. This, when it touches the lower band, it tends to be a spot it's oversold, and it tends to want to bounce from there. Although, as you can see, you can get some pretty good downside moves after that first penetration. So, watch out. Okay, let's go to gold. When it bounced off of here, I thought maybe we're going to get going up, and then we got a bounce off of there, and it stalled out. It's very tedious, as gold usually is. So maybe we are forming the bottom here, but it's taking forever, as it usually does. Okay, and so gold, still looking for a bottom. We've got a bottom here and a bottom here, so maybe we're going to get started on an uptrend. We tried to do it here and it failed. Looking at the dollar, it didn't change much today, so they're kind of running together, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
USO, still wondering what's going to happen in this sector. We know that the new administration is not friendly to energy sector, and right now we've got a rising wedge, which we expect to resolve downward. One thing is the non-friendly attitude of the new administration will probably force oil prices higher, energy prices higher, and that's basically, if that happens, then USO is going to go higher, obviously. Mm-hmm. So right now we're in a situation, we've got to see how the administration's got to express its approach, its policies. Excuse me. And we have to then see how that settles out in the market. Treasury bonds, we've got basically an island down here, and possibly an island reverse are going to be coming out of that. We see a short-term double bottom and oversold PMO turning up. We had some requests for Bitcoin, and we're going to be adding Bitcoin to our daily reports. And I'm not crazy about Bitcoin on a long-term basis because there's nothing there. I mean, you're not investing in anything except something that might go up or down for no particular reason. But some time ago, I did think of it as a trading vehicle, and I still think it is a good one, but it's, because it has some nice moves. And right now we've got a falling wedge, or even if you could say it's a falling flag and formation, and that generally we expect a breakout there, but you see the swoosh upward into that parabolic advance, and then it ultimately broke down, and we're going through that and correcting it. Could go a lot further down, as was mentioned on the weekend. The new Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, is looking askance at cryptocurrencies, and that the bottom might fall out of that if she gets too aggressively negative on it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be upsetting the apple cart just yet, but.
And so that pretty much covers it for me. That's back to you.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna start off, I'm gonna look at that Dow chart just so everybody can get a feel for what is going on with the Dow's PMO buy signal not showing up just yet. So I wanted to show that in a little bit more. I'm gonna just stretch this out. I think we'll be able to see it over here best. So as you can see, we have that PMO sell signal that's come in here on the Dow, and it made the attempt to get back up and get a buy signal, but it failed. And since then, you know, since we started to pull back, obviously the PMO is pulling back as well. So we don't have the PMO buy signal yet for the Dow Industrials, and it doesn't look like we're going to get one for a little while. So, you know, the Dow, it was outperforming for a while, and now it's starting to underperform somewhat, I would say. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to move us into looking at the home builders. And this was an area that I focused on last Tuesday in my DecisionPoint Diamonds report. In fact, I'll just go call that up really quickly. I did that today in the free DecisionPoint trading room. So this is our website and the blogs and links page. And I just wanted to show you down here, Home Builders looking interesting on January 19th. So this is a look at my diamond report. So everybody's getting a little bit of a preview of what it looks like, but this is what it looked like about a week ago when I was focusing in on the home builders. And before I look at those charts, I want to show you first how home construction and consumer discretionary has definitely been the leader. It's shown leadership over the past week, and it really looks like we're going to continue in that vein. And the reason I say that is this is your ETF for home construction and home builders. And you can see that we have the PMO buy signal. It's been accelerating higher. It's not at all overbought at this point. And we've just now, I'm going to pull this little tool up here so you can see we've just poked out above that overhead resistance at that October top, and we made the push through. It looks like we may start to consolidate it just a little bit, but you know, the PMO and momentum still looks very good in this sector. The only thing I would point to is the overbought RSI, and that can of course pose some problems. But as I point out often, these overbought conditions can persist for some time. If you're in a nice bull market run on your stock or ETF, these conditions can persist. And you can see that that's exactly what happened back here. And if I measure it, this was 24 periods that it was overbought. So 24 trading days, ITB was overbought. So it can maintain that overbought position for quite a while, but it does tell you need to be very cautious. And in this case, I'd be watching that support line right here at about $61. So we've just gotten through it, but I do see that area looking very nice. And at this point, this is the DecisionPoint diamonds that I did last Tuesday. And I always give you kind of a background on what they do and give you the earnings. And then I'll tell you about the daily chart. And then we look at the weekly chart. So really all of these were just getting ready to make their move. Now, obviously this one had already been up 2.4%, but after I put it in diamonds, it finished the week up 27%. So, I mean, it doesn't always happen that way. I really wish it did, but and this was the thing I noticed on most of these weekly charts for the home builders, that we were seeing these PMO sell signals coming up. So that really tells me that the move we're looking at in home builders, this is probably a short-term move until at least we start to see that weekly PMO start to move up. And we can just look at the weekly chart over here really quickly for the ITB, the home builders. See, you've got a much different picture here. So we've got the weekly chart starting to turn up, and there you go. You can see that really nice breakout. And on the weekly basis in the intermediate term, we're actually looking at a pretty good picture here with a positive RSI. So I'm liking it. We could see that before, though, those weekly charts weren't looking so great. DR Horton was one, Hovnanian, I always pronounce that one wrong, but falling wedges and breakouts. Now, one of the things that I talked about was solar space, renewable energy, and that got moved. StockCharts had it under the energy sector, and they since have moved it into the technology sector. It was pretty much skewing that whole sector, really. I think that was part of it, and made a little more sense to put it under technology, since that's where we're seeing a lot of technological advancements and such. So we've added it over there, but you can see over the past 3 months, it has been the place to be in this sector, in any sector. I mean, it has been moving up so quickly. It's up 87% right now, that particular industry group, over the past 3 months. The question, of course, becomes, are we going to still be able to watch this run continue? So I'm going to show you the solar ETF. And it's starting to not look quite as good as it has. Full disclosure, I do own some of these stocks, and I'll let you know when I do. TAN is one of them. Right now, you know, we've got a positive RSI, and the PMO is looking pretty ugly here with that top below the signal line. So I'm expecting to see a pullback here to that 20-day. But you can see the personality of this particular stock is typically, once it's on a good move, this is an ETF, I'm sorry, it usually, the 20-day EMA acts as really nice support. And typically when you get back there, that's when you start to look for the move up. Now, if you lose the 20-day EMA, then you're probably looking at a move down to the 50. So at this point, I still own this one. My stop level is set here just under 110. You can see there's that support level. It's pretty clear. There's your gap up. So I'm kind of waiting this one out just a little bit longer, even though we're starting to see the momentum shifting a little bit to the downside here. Overall, it's still a pretty strong chart. One of the others that came up in the trading room this morning for me. This is, I keep talking about the trading room. I do a free trading room every Monday at noon Eastern, and anybody can go in there and look at it. It's very simple to subscribe and get the information for the trading room. Just go ahead and sign up for our free email list. All of our subscribers already know how to do that. You can see right here, there's a direct link to register for those trading rooms. So welcome you to come and join us in the room. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, one of the ones that came up that we were talking about was Sunrun. And this one is one I own, but I won't be owning for long. Yeah, it lost the 20-day EMA. That gives me a little bit of heartburn. And now we do have that PMO sell signal. RSI is not negative, but it's very close to being negative. This is probably, and of course it is, because it's the one that went in my portfolio. This is probably the biggest underperformer in this sector, to be perfectly honest. And I'm going to show you, this is a chart we looked at again in the trading room. This is a Tom Bowley special, is what I call it. It is a really great way to check the relative strength of your stock or ETF. Actually, I don't know that it works for ETFs, but it gives you an idea of how the industry group itself is doing. So here's the industry group. right here for renewable energy. Then we look at Sunrun in, relative to that group. Well, it's obviously it's not a good one to be in. And Sunrun, even compared to the S&P, is losing ground. Now, that's really a problem. And then when you look at what that industry group is doing against the SPY, obviously an excellent industry group to be involved in here. But obviously Sunrun's not the one to be in. So that's going to be leaving my portfolio pretty quickly. SunPower was another one. This is one I do own, and I'm sticking this one out for a bit longer. Get a better look at this. There we go. And, this is a runner. I always talk about runners. It's in a parabolic. And you know what? I'm fortunate enough to be a part of a parabolic right now. I think everybody thinks they're lucky stars when they manage to find one of these. The trick is not getting killed on the collapse. So you want to watch them really closely, because obviously with parabolics, they will go crazy and then they fall very quickly to the most recent basing area or pattern. That would be probably right in here. So if we do see a collapse here, I would be looking for a collapse all the way down to $25. That's going to take about half of your profits off the table. It's currently running pretty high here at, as far as overbought position goes. But again, these overbought conditions can persist. And typically when this one gets overbought, it takes that moment in time to consolidate its move. This one's been pretty strong. We haven't had to deal with some of the pullbacks that say you got on a Sunrun back here. I mean, it was parabolic and then it collapsed, formed the double bottom. We got the big move and now it's collapsing once again. So definitely not my favorite in that area of the market. And of course, like I said, it's on my list. So back to the home builders. I think they're still looking really good. And one of the ways that I picked them out as a place to be is, first of all, I run my scans. They're exclusive. And what I found was a bunch of them showing up on my scan. So what I wanted to do was to look in that area more closely. So I went to the sector summary. I checked for its sector, which is discretionary, and I clicked on that. That gives me all of these areas in discretionary. And if you don't know what sector or what industry group you want to look at, you can always come in here and organize it by the scooter ranking, and that tells you that it has internal strength as well as relative strength. So you can sort those to the top, and that'll at least give you a place to look at. Now, for me, I already knew that home construction was the place I wanted to look. So I clicked on the home constructors. I sorted by scooter, and here you go. These were near the top. And so that told me that these were the stocks I wanted to concentrate on. So in that particular report, the Diamonds report, I ended up with Beazer, Vanian. I didn't pick KB Home, but that was my number 6 of the 5. Toll Brothers was another one. DHI was another one. And Pulte was another one. And again, all of these have been doing quite well. They still look really good on the breakout. The only issue I'm finding with a lot of them is that they're very overbought. But that actually is going to lead me toward the diamond of the week. And I think we're going to have some extra time at the end for us to chat, Dad, so don't go anywhere. So LGI is, I presented this one on Thursday for those like myself who hadn't got into the home builders on time, if you will, after I presented them on Tuesday. I found this one, and the reason I liked it is it was beat down to some degree. It had the falling wedge and it had just broken out. So you can see that that's where the breakout occurred, right there on Thursday. That's when I put it in the diamond report. And we hadn't quite gotten the, I think we had just gotten the buy signal on the PMO, and the RSI was rising and it's positive. It's not overbought yet like those others. And so I found this one as a possible, to get in a little bit for the late birds. you can come in here, and this was one that I thought looked pretty good, and I still think it looks pretty good. And that's why I'm making it my diamond of the week this week. But I am looking for, you've got the nice falling wedge, like I said, positive RSI, 20 and 50. We don't have that silver cross yet, the 20 and 50 day EMA, but we do have the 50 above the 200. So I know that there is a bullish bias on the chart, although it's been pretty much braiding across the board here. But I really like that move on that breakout. And so that's why this is going to be my diamond of the week. And you can see that since Thursday, it's even up a few percentage points. So the question is, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into some of the stuff I do in my trading room. And that is to show you the 5-minute candlestick chart. This is the chart I use for my entries and my exits. And I use it, let's see, I want to get the actual, that's not the one I use. Here we go. It's the 5-minute candlestick chart. I really think this one helps me time my entries and exits quite well. You have the PMO, the OBV, and the RSI. It looks very similar to my daily chart. And I use these same indicators in this time frame. Obviously, they calculate slightly differently in this time frame, including the PMO. And I like to watch for those crossovers of the PMO with a positive RSI. That tells me that's my entry point. So for Diamond's subscribers who found out Thursday, they would have been watching this 5-minute candlestick chart. And we're going to add just a few more days here. So I use these to help me time my entries and my exits. So what I do is I wait for a PMO crossover and a positive RSI. And so if you were looking at this Friday, if you were one of my Diamond subscribers and you'd wanted to get in, there were a few places where we had some buy points. There's one where the PMO crossed over right up here. We had another one in the afternoon right here. So basically, LGIH moved mostly sideways, but there were plenty of buy points that came in during the day on that because we had positive RSI and we got the buy signals, these crossovers. And so that would have at least gotten you in here and you would be on a win, even if you got in, say, later, diamonds you found out Thursday. So anyway, that is my diamond of the week. It looks like we're just about out of time as well. Any parting words for our viewers, Dad?
Keep your head down.
Yes, keep your head down and be nimble. It's going to be a little difficult. It's not always this easy to find these stocks and ride them higher. It just doesn't always work that well. But I think we're on the right road. Happy trading.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.